Oh, hey guys, welcome back. Just doing a little reading here, checking out some stuff on the tablet, and reading a really cool story. Another Jack tale, as a matter of fact. Jack and the Robbers. Would you like to hear it? Cool. All right. This here is another tale about Jack when he was a little boy. He was about 12, I reckon, and his daddy started trying to make him help with the work around the place. But Jack didn't like working much. Sound familiar to anybody? He would piddle around a little and then he'd go back to the house till one day his daddy whooped him good. Jack didn't cry none, but he didn't like it a bit. So early the next morning, he slipped off without telling his mother and struck out down the public road. Thought he'd go and try his fortune somewhere else off away from home. Now he got down the road a few miles and there was an old ox standing in a field by a rail fence just a bellowing like there was trouble over something. Oh! That's my imitation of the ox bellowing. Hello, says Jack. What's the matter? Well, I'll just tell you, says the old ox. I'm getting too old to plow, and I heard the men talking about how they'd have to kill me tomorrow just to get shed of me. Well, come on down here to the gap, says Jack, and you can slip off with me. So the old ox followed the fence to where the gap was, and Jack let the bars down, and the old ox got out in front of Jack, and they went down the public road. Jack and the ox traveled on, and pretty soon they came to where there was an old donkey standing with his head hanging low over the gate and just a groaning. Yaw, yaw. Hello, says Jack, what's troubling you? Law me, says the old donkey. The boys took me out to haul in wood this morning, and I'm getting so old and weak I couldn't do no good. I heard them say they were going to have to kill me tomorrow just to get rid of me. Oh, come on and go walk with us, says Jack. So he let the old donkey out and they pulled on down the public road. The old donkey told Jack just to get up on his back and ride for a while. So they went on a piece and came to an old hound dog sitting in the man's yard. It would bark a while and then he'd howl a while. Arr! Like hound dogs do, you know. Sounded awful lonesome. Hello, says Jack. What you a-howling for? Oh, law me, says the old dog. The boys took me coon hunting last night. Cut a tree where the coon had gone up in it. I got hold of the coon all right, but my teeth are all gone and it got loose from me. They said they were going to have to kill me today to get shed of me. Oh, come on and go with us, says Jack. So the old dogs crawled under the gate. The old donkey says to the dog, get up on my back and ride if you want to. So Jack hopped up. So Jack helped the old dog up behind him, and they went off down the public road. Before too long, they came to an old tomcat climbing along the fence. It was a squalling and meowing to beat the band. And then it sat down on top rail and went meow. That sounds kind of like a cat, doesn't it? Sounded right pitiful. Hello, says Jack. What's the matter? What you squalling so for? Oh, law, says the old cat. I caught a rat out in the barn this morning, but my teeth are getting so old and bad, I let him go. And I heard him talking later about killing me to get shed of me, 'cause I ain't no good to catching rats no more. Well, come on and go with us, says Jack. So the old cat jumped down off of the fence, and the donkey says, hop up here on my back and you can ride for a while too. Well, the old cat jumped up and got behind the dog, and they all went down the public road. Came to where they saw an old rooster just a-sitting on a fence post, crowing like it was midnight, making the awfulest lonesome racket. Arr-ka-doo! Arr-ka-doo! Don't make fun of my animal imitations. Anyway, Jack says, "Hello, what's troubling you, Mr. Rooster?" "Law me," says the old rooster. "Company's coming today, and I heard 'em say they were going to kill me and put me in a pie." "Well, come on and we'll go with us," says Jack. The old rooster flew down, got behind the cat, and says, "All right, boys, let's go." So they went right on down the highway. That was about all they could get on the old donkey's back. The old rooster was right on his top of its tail and having a sort of a hard time staying on, but they traveled on till it got plumb dark. "Well," says Jack, "we best get off the road and find us a place to stay the night." Well, directly they came to a little path leading off on one side of the road up into the woods. Deciding to take that path, they could see if they could find some place up there, place to stay. Well, they went right on a smart piece, and way along up late in the night they came to a little old house. Didn't have no clearing around it, just a house stuck in the woods. Jack hollered "hello" at the fence around the house, but there didn't seem to be anybody to answer. "Come on," says the old donkey, "let's go in and investigate that place." Well, there wasn't nobody ever come to the door when they knocked on it, and there wasn't nobody around the back, so directly they went on in. Now they found a right smart amount of goods and some things to eat in there too. Jack says, "Now, who in the world do you reckon could be a living out here in such a wilderness of a place as this?" "Well," says the old donkey, "it's my opinion that a gang of highway robbers probably lives out here." So Jack says, he thinks a minute, and he says, "Them hit looks like that to me too. Well, we might as well take up and stay here. If they've done stole all these victuals and stuff, we got as much right to them as they do." "Yes," says the dog, "that's exactly what I think too. But if we stay, I believe we better get fixed for a fight. I expect they'll be coming back in here right about midnight." "That's just what I was going to say," says the old cat. "I bet it's pretty close to midnight right now." Well, the old rooster says, "Hit lacks about an hour." You know, roosters are good at telling time and stuff. Part of their job, crowing early in the morning. Says the old rooster. "Come on then," says Jack. "Let's all get us set to fight 'em." And the ox said he'd stay out in the yard. The old donkey said he'd take up his stand on the porch just outside the door. Dog said he'd get in behind the fire and fight from there. The old tomcat got down and close into the fireplace, and the old rooster flew up to the top of the roof and says, "If you boys need any help, just call me. Call on me," he says. They all waited a while, and after a while, when it got real close to midnight, they heard somebody coming directly, and apparently it was 7 of them highway robbers. They came on till they got pretty close to the house. Then they told one of them, "Go on in there and start the fire so as they could have a light to see to get in with, and so they could divide out the money they had stolen that day." One of the men went into the house, and the other 6 waited outside at the gate for a while. The man that went to light the fireplace got down on his knees to blow up the fire. The cat had his head right down there on the hearth rock, and that man thought the cat's eyes were the coals from the fire. Time he blowed in that old cat's face, that old cat reached out with his claws right quick and scratched him down both cheeks. Ah! The robber hollered and headed for the door. The dog ran out and bit him in the leg. He shook it off and ran out on the porch, and the old donkey raised up and kicked him out in the yard. You know, donkeys could kick. The ox caught him up on its horns and ran to the fence and threw him out into the brush. About that time, the old rooster sitting up there on the top of the house started its crowing right big. The other robbers, time they heard all that racket, they put out just as fast as they could run. The one they'd sent in the house finally caught up with them and started running like a streak. They said to him when they finally got stopped, "What in the world was that in there?" "Oh, I'm killed," says the man. "I won't ever live 15 minutes more." The other said, "Well, before you die, tell us what happened. What caused all that racket and thunder back yonder?" "Law me, that house is plumb full of men. And they've even got one on the roof. I went to blow up the fire, and a man in the fireplace raked me all over the face with an awl, and I started to run, and a man behind the door took me in the leg with a butcher knife. Time I got out the door, a man out there hit me with a big stick, knocked me clean off the porch. A man standing in the yard caught me up on a pitchfork and threw me over the fence. And then that man up on the roof started hollering, 'Chuck him up here! Chuck him up here!'" Well, they thought about it and talked about it for a few minutes, and they decided, "Ain't no use in us going back there with all them men in that house. Let's leave here quick before they come after us." So them highway robbers ran for their life and kept on running till they were plumb out of the country. Jack and the ox and the old donkey and the dog and the cat and the rooster, they took possession of that house and just had them a big time. By the last time I was down that way, Jack had gone on back home to his folks, and he was out in the yard cutting his mother a big pile of stove wood. So apparently, Jack learned a lesson as well as them highway robbers did, and went back home and started doing what he was supposed to do. Did you like that story? That's another one of the Jack Tales, Appalachian stories that come from the mountains of Tennessee, North Carolina, Kentucky, and Virginia, and other hill places like that. These are old stories, and they're really fun to read and listen to. And I hope you enjoyed it. So until we read another story, remember, wash those hands, and everybody be nice to one another. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.